Right, good morning, everyone, from picturesque, warm, yet very tad bit of cold Cape Town. But with this beautiful weather, let's match the day's openness with our minds, and we are ready to learn and grow together. Just some word of caution before we start this presentation or this young professional seminar. There might be some power outages in certain parts of Gauteng. So if we lose connection, we will reconnect you as soon as it's possible, and we will keep the conversations going. So with that, some very wise words, or some key rules, or some very practical arrangements. I want you for this entire session to make sure that your um, camera and your microphones is on mute, because it is currently disabled. But we will enable these during the events as the speakers come to the fore. Aside from that, ask questions in the Q&A and the chat section as presenters are going to present. And one very important aspect to today's session, because it's recorded, I do not want to share any personal information that's in contravention with the POPI Act. So that includes your email address, your telephone number, and anything personal related to you, because we cannot be held accountable if you share that and it might land in the wrong hands. This session will be recorded, and you will be able to access the recording in the chat for this meeting in the Microsoft Teams after the live event has ended. But you know, a Western Cape Symposium won't be a Western Cape Symposium without the opening words of the person that lead and head the Western Cape region. So with that said, let's give over to our dear regional director, and very intellectual by his own accord. Let us welcome our regional director, Mr. Motali Huang. Mr. Motali, over to you.
Thank you, Program Director. I've just shown my camera, but for what you have just indicated and the challenges of the power, I just wanted to show my face, so then I will just continue with my address to students that are in attendance today. Thank you so much, Program Director, Mr. Jacques Dutoy, and our regional academic coordinator. Let me also, at the same breath, acknowledge the presence of our colleagues from Pretoria and also in the region, Mrs. Makanya, Dr. Kanyile, Ms. Lisa Dazel, Ms. Adams, and Ms. Nozipho Mpofu. I hope I have indicated those that I have been projected to me. But also at the same time, I want to acknowledge the presence of our keynote speaker, Mr. Dominic Haubepi from the Cohesion Collective, various speakers, Ms. Besani Moahi, Lieutenant Colonel Molebogeng Nku, and Captain Masiho Ngema, fellow colleagues and students at large. A very good morning to you all. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the inaugural Young Professional Seminar hosted by Unisa, Western Cape region. I want to start by expressing my appreciation for the sacrifice that you have made to attend this seminar. I am sure many of you have taken time out of your busy schedules to be here, and I'm grateful of your commitment. It is my belief that this seminar will be worth your while, and I'm confident that you will leave here with valuable insights and connections that will benefit you in your future endeavors. As we gather during this Tourism and Heritage Month, I would like to highlight the significance of this celebration for our students, particularly those studying tourism. This month offers a unique opportunity to explore the rich cultural heritage and tourism industry of our region, and we can learn from each other's experiences and insights. The President Ramaphosa emphasizes the importance of heritage preservation, stating that, I quote, "Our diverse heritage is one of our most valuable national assets," close quote. He encourages young South Africans to get involved in careers and opportunities in the sector, citing initiatives like the Presidential Employment Stimulus that provides work opportunities for young people in film and digital production, cultural project management, and many more. As the president noted in his Heritage Day, I quote, "Heritage is a time to appreciate the many facets of our cultures, customs, and traditions." He also highlighted the potential of tourism to drive inclusive growth, saying that the tourism sector has the potential to be even larger than it is currently. Today, we are privileged to have distinguished young Unisa alumni and esteemed keynote speaker who will share their career journeys, challenges, and triumphs. Their stories will undoubtedly inspire and motivate you to reach your full potential. I would like to draw an inspiration from the iconic words of the Nelson Mandela, who said, I quote, "It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the mine, that a child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation," close quote. This quote reminds us that education is the powerful tool for transformation and social mobility. In the context of this seminar, Mandela's words emphasize the importance of having a vision for success. As students, you have the potential to become highly successful professionals in your chosen fields. Whether you are studying tourism, business, or any other discipline, remember that education can take you places you never thought possible. Let us take ownership of our futures and strive for excellence. Let's learn from the experiences of our speakers and apply the lessons to our own journeys. Let's make the most of this seminar and take away valuable insights to shape our careers. Here is another quote to keep in mind. I quote, open quote, "Believe you can and you are halfway there," close quote. Let us approach today with an open mind, a willingness to learn, and a passion for growth. In conclusion, I wish you an inspiring and insightful seminar, and I hope you enjoy the discussions and interactions today. May you take away valuable lessons and connections that will benefit you in your future endeavors. On behalf of the Western Cape region, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers, Mama Kanya, Dr. Kanyile, and the entire organizing team for putting together this inaugural seminar. We hope that this event will grow from strength to strength, and we look forward to seeing the impact it will have on our students and the broader community. I thank you. Let's make the most of this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Huang. And for those of you who joined late, that was Mr. Mutali Huang, who's heading the Western Cape region at the Unisa campus here in Cape Town and stretching as far as George. Right, so in the Western Cape, we place huge emphasis on professionalization as well as multilingualism. For those of you who have seen the displays here, you will notice that there's some book from very different languages, including Afrikaans, English, and Xhosa, that's official languages, in addition to Sotho in the Western Cape. So with the Creole of languages, you know, one of the directors that really impressed me whenever I go to Unisa Pretoria is Dr. Matomi Jack Mashepata, because he speaks to me not in the Creole of the Cape Flats, but in the very essence of purest Afrikaans. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hand over to Dr. Mashapata to give us more insight into the purpose of today's event. So over to you, Mr. Jack Mashapata.
Baya dankie, Jack. Groete aan almal wat in die vergadering is hier môre. Siyabulela ukuthi sihlangane kule ntsungu ezifana nalezi ngendaba ye-Young Professionals Seminar. Kumande who come together. And indeed, I'm excited to hear you speak about the multilingualism emphasis that is there in the Western Cape. And thanks to the regional director, listening to you say, welcoming us, I feel at home. Sibulele ke bantakwethu. It's an honor for me, of course, to be part and parcel of the Young Professionals Seminar, which is a gathering which has got a clear purpose of motivating you, preparing you, and getting you to connect with the esteemed guests that have taken their precious time to be with us this morning. And I don't want to underestimate their passion and sacrifice that they have made to just come and spend the time with us this morning. Although I'm not a student anymore, but all the time when I am in this kind of an event, I always find myself going back motivated. And those who have seen me in the live physical event such as this, I get so energized and I feel very young again whenever I listen to the young professionals speakers. We are here this morning to motivate you with the stories of these young professionals and alumni who once sat just where you are right now, but who have been able to rise to make their mark in different fields. We are here to have you exposed to the realities of the world of work, and they will share with us opportunities, the demands, and the lessons that one learns along the way. We are here to have you enlightened about how do you prepare yourself, the importance of building those skills that are required, the discipline and the professionalism, even before you leave the gates of this institution. Above all, these young professionals have been where you are, and the purpose is for them to encourage you to be resilient, have the power to bounce back, to rise when life challenges you. And I do know how being a student can be so challenging, but to be able to persist even when the journey gets tough. Ladies and gentlemen, the world of work is both exciting and demanding. You will face challenges, from the long nights of study to difficult interviews and sometimes moments of doubt. But resilience turns these challenges into stepping stones. As you listen attentively to these professionals and alumni today, see yourself in their journeys. Their success is not only about talent or opportunity, it's about preparation, perseverance, and the courage just to keep moving forward. As I want to come to a conclusion, I am urging you, engage actively, ask questions, take notes, learn from their successes, be challenged by how they made it through their struggles. This seminar is more than just an event. It is a spark, a bridge between your studies and your future. I want to say, take these lessons that we will learn today, the things that you'll hear today, the stories that they're going to share with us, and let them strengthen your resilience, sharpen your preparation, and inspire your purpose. Your degree and your studies gives you just but a foundation, but your resilience and character will take you to the top. I want to thank you, the organizers. I want to thank you, our esteemed guests. I want to thank you, students that are here. I want to thank you, the young professionals. Let this ignite the passion to become not only successful graduates, but also ethical, resilient, and compassionate leaders of tomorrow. Yabulela kakhulu makube mandi sisahlangene today in this fashion. Magdihere sien. Baie dankie.
Baie dankie, Dr. Jack Mashipata. Yes, Unisa is indeed the University of the Land, and together with our studies also comes the quality of our thinking. And the quality of our thinking actually becomes the quality of our mind and our world. In order for us to understand what is happening here today with being part of the youth and being part of young professionals, I'm going to introduce you to our next speaker that will introduce you to our guest speaker. But she has one of the most friendliest faces, humble, wonderful, kind. So for the person that's going to introduce you to our keynote speaker is Mrs. Mandu Makania. And as I've indicated, a wonderful person that you'll meet in the corridors of Unisa Pretoria. So over to you, Mrs. Makania.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director, sir. I'm humbled by your introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will be introducing our keynote speaker. For the purposes of saving ourselves, I'm going to switch off my camera. It is a privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Mr. Dominic Haubepi. He is known as the bridge builder, a speaker, moderator, and strategist who helps leaders build trust across divides. With over a decade of experience in leadership development, men's leadership, and diversity and inclusion, he has worked with leading organizations to foster cultures of courage, cohesion, and clarity. As the Managing Director of Cohesion Collective, our speaker, ladies and gentlemen, brings a rare blend of insight, authenticity, and presence to every stage he steps onto, whether speaking about self-leadership, moderating high-stakes conversations, or guiding men's leadership development. His mission is simple: to inspire leaders to build bridges, not walls. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Dominic Haubepi, the voice of Vodacom, to the podium. And over to you, Mr. Program Director, sir.
Thank you so much for that. Let us give over to Mr. Dominic from the Cohesive Collective. Dominic, over
Wonderful.
to you.
Good morning. And please just confirm that you can hear me and that you can see my presentation.
We can see you and we can hear you clearly.
Appreciated. So good morning to everyone. I wish I could be able to do some greetings in Afrikaans, but Afrikaans, the last time we engaged together was in matric. And even then, those days were a very tumultuous relationship that we had with each other. So let me not embarrass myself and anybody else, but I'll say good morning, Sanbonani, Dumelang. I love our country. I love the diversity with which we come. And I love that we as South Africans, we live in a unique country that although we are at the tip of Africa, we always punch way above our weight within the global space. And I'm hoping you'll also be able to walk away with that level of encouragement, that although you may be a student, although you may be a young professional, really understand that your potential is a whole lot broader and far bigger if we allow ourselves to step into it regarding what it is that we can contribute into the world. So as mentioned, I'm from the organization Cohesion Collective, and I do work in leadership, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, as well as work with leaders and teams on enhancing their team performance. Those of you that are on LinkedIn, you're more than welcome to please connect with me and engage with me. And given that we've got, people of the younger generation that are joining us here on the seminar, I will ask you that if there's anything that I say throughout this presentation that you resonate with or you find to be of value, please also mention it on LinkedIn, because I've realized that I am useless at self-marketing. And so it would be amazing if there are people that are far more savvy than me that can elevate the work that we do as an individual and as an organization. I established this organization back in 2018, and I'll tell you a little bit about my history as we get into the presentation. But since 2018, we've really been privileged. We've really been honored and blessed to engage with a number of organizations, both locally and internationally, across different sectors. In any given week, I really have the honor of engaging with people that have a matric, that work in mines underground, through to engaging with executive teams that have within their area of responsibility managing regions with 20, 30, 50 countries. And what I've learned and what I've realized is that regardless of who it is that I engage with, regardless of their language, their background, cultural background, or seniority within organizations, there's a common theme that really stitches us together as human beings. I've noticed that people just want to do meaningful work, enjoy what they do, and feel that their presence matters. The issue arises within our workplaces in that people experience stress and anxiety where they feel they need to walk around eggshells, especially when it comes to engaging across our differences. And this can lead to self-doubt, which impacts quality of delivery. So the work that I do with my team is really to work with leaders and teams to bridge these gaps in strained relationships, to bridge this gap in personal insecurity. And if we are successful and do what we do well, the result is that anxiety decreases, confidence soars, and people are actually able to do what it is that they've been hired to do. All right. That's in a nutshell the work that we do with the different organizations that we're with. I work with an amazing team of professionals, people that specialize in different topics, whether it is women empowerment, gender equity, people living with disabilities, generational differences, leadership, anti-racism. We bring a team for the task in order to serve our clients to the best of our ability. And these are really amazing professionals and individuals that I get to work with in delivering the work that we do. For the time that we have with each other, I've decided to title this, Your Gift Will Make Room for You, Leveraging Your Unique Abilities for Personal and Professional Success. Some of what I'll present will be challenging, but I think overall, I hope it will be encouraging and inspiring as we go through the process. I can see that a hand has been raised. Let me pause before I go forward. And if it was a false flag of a hand, please let me know, our program director, and I'll move forward.
Let me see perhaps a question. No, it was in fact a false flag of the hand. Over to you, Dominique.
No problem, I appreciate it. So this is what we'll be unpacking with each other really very briefly. I'll do the best that I can to get to the end of it, but this is the message that I felt led to be able to provide to my fellow South Africans, to the young, promising South Africans that are coming into the place of work, and your contributions that you'll be providing within our country and the broader world at large. But before we get there, let me quickly share my story. All right. And let me begin in this way, how I strive to order and prioritize my life. And these are the points, and in this particular order. All right. That for me, my faith is important for me. Then it's my character, my marriage, my son, my work, and then extended family, neighbors, and friends. My faith informs my identity. My character is how I live out my faith, through ensuring that my values are acted out, and that's how people experience me, rather than me being a hypocrite with my words, but not following up with action. My faith and my character are number 1 and 2 because I have learned in very hard ways that if those are not in check, then my marriage will not be protected. But if number 1 and 2 are solid, then my marriage is automatically protected. When I travel to Cape Town, when I travel to London, When I travel to Johannesburg, I'm currently in Durban, my wife does not need to worry regarding what's that guy doing when he's alone at the hotel, if you get my drift. And that's because I've resolved within myself that I will put myself within a prison of my own convictions, because I recognize that when those convictions are in place, then it automatically protects the things that I most love and value within my life. Then you have my son. With my boy, that's where I've learned how to provide, to protect, to nurture, to mentor. Again, I've recognized that the best gift that I can provide to my son is to ensure that I have a healthy marriage. The marriage between mother and father is the only relationship in human experience where another human being feels secondhand love. All right. When mom and dad are together and we are walking in step, it is that relationship that brings about security. It is that relationship that brings about a sense of purpose. When we love each other, our children automatically feel loved. But it's a double-edged sword, because when we fight with each other, it also results in our children internalizing that and beginning to believe that there's something wrong that they've done to cause the strife between their parents. So it's important for me to have a functional marriage, because that's the best gift that I can give to my son, for him to be a young man of substance that will grow up and be of value in the society in which we're building. Number 5 is then what I'm doing with you right now. My work, that's where I serve. And I watch number 5 very closely, because it has a very sneaky habit of trying to put itself up to number 1. And I've realized that when number 5 is number 1, it costs everything else that you value. If work becomes number 1 in your life, it will cost you your health, it will cost you your family, it will cost you all the things that actually matter in life. And so it's extremely important that we put it where it is that it ought to be, and do so quite deliberately. And then lastly, Akshen, my family, neighbors, friends, that's the space in which I do impact, but I also try to keep these things in balance as I live through my life and as I grow as a professional. And I'd like to encourage you as well that as you go through your life, think very deliberately regarding what are your values, what are your priorities, and what can you do deliberately to honor them. Because if you don't prioritize yourself, somebody else will make those priorities for you. And unfortunately, when somebody else prioritizes for you, they'll always prioritize for you in service of them rather than for your best good. A little bit more about me. Believe it or not, once upon a time, I had a full set of hair. So that's my picture in grade 8 on the left, and then that's my picture in matric. I come from a home where both my mom and my dad did not complete high school, so mom and dad only had a grade 10 education. I come from a background where my mother and my father were unemployed from the time I was around 11 years old. And so I come from a space where even one meal a day is not something that I could take for granted as a guarantee within my home. All right. Through teachers, through mentors who saw potential in me, and not only did they see that potential, but they actually bothered to support me through my journey. That's how I was able to get away from the background of poverty in which I was born into, to then be able to access opportunities to go to university and be the first in the family with a higher education qualification. So when I got to matric, I received the Ernest Oppenheimer Memorial Trust Scholarship, which enabled me to go to Rhodes University, where I graduated with a Bachelor of Economics degree. And after Rhodes, I was then snatched up. But before I get there, let me actually just mention a couple of things. I've met some amazing people, along my journey. So on the bottom left, you can see that's me in matric, and you can see Eskel and Kat there in the early 2000s. Does anybody in the call recognize who that is, that face there on the top right? And you can put it on the chat, or you can unmute and blurt out the name, and I'll move forward from there. And program director, if you see the chat, please tell me what's in the chat so that I know how to respond.
Well, I think of they said that it's Vusi, and everyone is, they kind of predicted it right, Dominic.
Yeah.
But I think they only got eyes for you there. Yes, but it's Vusi Tembekwayo.
Thank you. All right.
Over
So
to you, Dominic.
Thank you, sir. So we grew up together, Wattville, primary school, high school, and it's been amazing to see what it is and how he's grown as an individual, how he's grown within his craft, how he's developed his gifting, and the contribution that he's providing in the world. And some other amazing people that I met at university, were these gentlemen that I'd like to highlight quickly. This particular gentleman here used to be on YFM. On YFM, he was known as DJ Mullo. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago at the age of 37, was newly married, 3-year-old son, and lost his battle to cancer. And really, that was a reminder through his passing that oftentimes we live life thinking that we've got a long time, but you never know what it is that may happen in life. And therefore, we need to ensure that the time that we have, we make it count. The time that we have, that we are deliberate with it. But he was an amazing young man that I get to engage with, walk a little bit of our journey in life with, and also get to celebrate his career as he was growing. The other one, he continues to be crazy. So this is my Blair. He's currently on KFM. He was also the host of the Real Goboza, Real Housewives of Durban. Quite a character, also doing some amazing things within the broadcast media space. And I share these individuals with you in that, especially you as young people growing up in the era of social media, it's very easy for you to look at other people's lives and other people's successes at social media, and it makes you feel inadequate, like everybody else is making it and doing amazing things. But what am I doing, and why am I falling short? To protect your mental, physical, and emotional well-being, the key to it is to ensure that you run your own race. Run your own race. When you run your own race, you're not competing against anybody else. You're doing the best that you can with your abilities, where it is that you've been called. And when you honor that and honor that about yourself, it frees you up to be able to celebrate other successes, because it's not something that, that threatens you, but it is something that you can celebrate. It is something that can inspire you as you grow within your journey. And my career personally has had some interesting twists and turns. So I left Rhodes University, got hired into Unilever South Africa as an HR business partner. So it was through their management trainee program. And I think this is part of the first things I'd like to share with you, actually. So I studied economics, but I went into a career within HR. So lesson number one, what you study does not need to box you within a particular career. All right. I did HR for 4.5 years. Unilever decided to resign. They said, where are you going? I said, I'm starting my own business. They said, have you started this business? I said, no. They said, young man, you might be hasty. Why don't you come to work Monday to Wednesday, and then the other days you can figure yourself out. We'll leave your salary alone. We'll leave your benefits alone. I said, that's amazing. Let's try that. Did that for 3 months, and then I realized I couldn't be able to honor both. At that stage, I received an offer from South African breweries. So I was in Durban. SAP called. They said, we've got an offer in Johannesburg, HR business partner supporting the CIO and his executive. Are you interested? I said, I don't know if you've heard, but me, I'm leaving corporate. I'm done with it. Young man, how many companies have you worked for? I've only worked for one. Don't you think it might be a good idea to get different experience? No, me, I think I'm good. How much are they paying you at Unilever? I tell them the amount. They say, we'll double it. I'm like, when do I begin? And that took my journey from Unilever Durban to then going to South African breweries in Johannesburg, Sandton. Did that role for 12 months, and then it was clear. It wasn't about the job title. It wasn't about the pay. There was something within that corporate structure that was completely killing my soul. I had ideas that I wanted to put into action, but constantly running into walls where people are telling me, no, that's not how we do things around here. I'd like to do this and do it differently. No, this is not the SAP way. And so I decided, rather than giving other people's truant heart palpitations, let me get out and put these ideas into action. So left corporate and began to develop as a speaker, as a facilitator. I've had an amazing privilege and opportunity to host a number of sessions, both locally and internationally. All right, that was a session that happened, I think this was in Cape Town International Convention Center a few years ago. Had an opportunity to host a show on Business Day TV. And this particular episode, I was interviewing the then executive mayor of Ekurhuleni in Gauteng, Mzwandile Masina, and his executive on service delivery and what they were doing as leaders in that space. A few years ago, there was that Tresemme cliques debacle where there was, black women hair that was broken and white women hair that was deemed to be normal, and then Twitter went ablaze. Then I went through in order to provide some, thought leadership regarding what's actually going on. Why do we continue to have these tone-deaf messages that still make it through our broadcast media? For those of you that grew up with the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four will probably apply more to your lecturers than your students. By Fantastic Four, I mean SABC 1, 2, 3, and ETV. So if you grow up with the Fantastic Four, you will definitely know Desmond Dube. And I had the opportunity for a few years, I think between 2014 to around 2019, to be the presenter for Hollard Legal Insurance. So it was a commercial that ran for a few years. And again, I did not study for this stuff, but it was really me stepping out and trying to develop the giftings that were given to me and to then say, what can I make of them? I've also had an opportunity to do some interviews with some amazing South Africans through a program. It wasn't a podcast, but it was interviews that I was doing with some amazing South Africans. This is the current commissioner of the South African Revenue Services, Professor Edward Kieswetter. Had an opportunity to interview Professor Nick Benadel. So he's the founder of Gibbs Business School. A leader in leadership and strategic leadership thinking, amazing individual, as well as Professor Bonang Mohale, who's I think currently with Business Unity South Africa. He's an executive chair, I think it might be at Bidfest currently, but really a giant within corporate South Africa and an amazing man to learn from, to engage with, and draw wisdom from. Again, I never knew that I could do this stuff. Okay, my wife is my best friend. I am who I am, and I'm able to do what I do because I've got an amazing partner in life. And within our marriage, I've also recognized that every marriage actually has a unique gift that it needs to provide in society. How we've brought that gift to life is we founded a nonprofit faith-based organization that does work with men, with women, with the youth, with families and married couples, as well as outreach programs to the poor and the homeless through food parcels and ready-made meals. But we do it from a faith perspective. It's not to exalt ourselves, but whenever it is that we give a food parcel, we couple it with the book of John, because we want to make clear that it's not us that's doing this, okay? But rather it is the Lord that we submit ourselves to, that's doing the good works through us, through the people in our community. And I need to be my best and do my best for his sake. So what I lost in hair, my son gained in abundance. This guy has a Super Saiyan afro for days, right? Amazing young man. But really, I've learned that for me to be the best father to him, it is through what he observes me doing that he will learn what it means to be a man, what it means to live with integrity, what it means to live out the convictions of your values. All right. He's grown now. He's 11 years old. So this is him with our two dogs here at home. And that picture, by the way, is not a picture at a holiday resort. So that's a picture at a deck, from a deck in our home. And I'm sharing that not to brag, but to make the following point. I know myself. There's no amount of skills, there's no amount of gifts, there's no amount of being amazing that comes from me that can justify the blessings that I've been able to receive and walk in my life. Right. So I share that with you in order to make that point that I know it's not me that's amazing. I have been carried. I have been blessed. I've received grace that has enabled me to be that boy that came from that background where nobody achieved much, from the background of poverty from which I came, to now be able to provide a life for my son that, to use the analogy of chalk and cheese as a difference, is an understatement. He lives a completely different life from what it is that I've now been able to be able to provide through for him. So before I move forward, I'd like to pause, and I'll do this just for a couple of minutes if there's any questions, any reflections, before we begin to unpack how it is that you can unlock and discover your gift and ability for professional and personal success. Any reflection, any question before I move forward?
Dominic, let us just look at the chat room, whether there's any comments or questions or thoughts there. And not really. I really want to invite all the speakers, because there's no hands showing, Dominic. And
no problem.
Dominic, there's something very special about your voice. And they say that the human voice is the most beautiful instrument of all, but it's also the most difficult to play. And I think what is the most wonderful thing about your presentation is the fact that young professionals, they cannot be what they cannot see. And thank you so much for visualizing your life story for them to be able to see. With that, also another important aspect that I found very interesting is when you said that I did HR. And for many years, when I was in high school, for example, the teacher always asked us, what is it that you want to become one day? What is it that you want to become one day? And it became so absolute that a lot of people suffer from destination anxiety because they felt that if they reach their destination and become, they're going to die. The next thing they will die. And so a lot of them kind of pause there. But what I think the teacher should have asked us is, what is it that you want to do one day? Because doing also makes you not like a hustler, but it makes you happy, because you can become something and you can also do something. For example, you become that the executive director, you become that, but you also do something. For example, you go to the downtrodden and you go to the people that really need, and whether they suffer from episodic homelessness or chronic homelessness, you go to them with a word of inspiration and you do things for the people. In communities, knowing where you come from and wanting to change their lives. Let us look at some of the chats, Dominic. Happy indicates that thank you so much for such a wonderful and inspiring presentation. And then there's also where the Atile indicated, thank you so much. Many professionals show us that what they have achieved. I know you've mentioned that you have mentors before. What role did they play in ensuring that you are where you are? I mean, we as young people do not tapping into the right doors for opportunities. Where does one find the opportunity to grow and get into industry and tap into their potential? And I think that will link to your gift that make room for you in your presentation. Dobili indicated that you studied economics but ended in HR. Did you apply for the job specifically, and what career did you have in mind for growing up? And with these questions shared, I think it will also be a wonderful thing if you can align, on what is it that you leverage, your unique ability, because one thing that our counseling and career development always emphasize is those transferable skills. Transferable skills to navigate between, your one occupation, whether it's civil engineering, to that of business management or business leadership. So if you can just contextualize a little bit for our young professionals that link. So please continue with your gift that will make room for you. And then Lisa Daisel is going to also look into the chat and see what Q&A will arise after your presentation. Awesome. Over to you, Dominic.
I'll go through this segment and I'll try to, summarize it and make it compact as much as possible so that we can engage within the end. But let me land these quickly, and I think I'll answer some of these questions as I present this. All right. Let's observe nature and how everything has been created with intention. Okay. For example, we've got a seagull. A seagull has been created with intention because a seagull can walk, a seagull can swim, a seagull can fly. It's got wings to fly, webs to swim, little legs that enables it to walk. It has been created with intention for a purpose. Look at the spider and how it is that spiders are able to come up with these webs that have this complex geometric structures that enable the strength of these webs. Look at an eagle, how it is that an eagle learns to fly, how an eagle is able to soar. And eagles are amazing. When they have their young, they'll feed their young and they build their nests at the top of mountains. When their young are old enough in order to be able to fly, mommy eagle literally just kicks them out the nest. And on their way down from that mountain, that little one needs to figure out, will the instinct kick in and for me to try to fly to save my life, or do I die? Right? But the point is this: eagles have never gone to eagle school. Okay. As human beings, we need to go to flight school to be pilots. Eagles never went to eagle school. It's built in. Spiders have never attended a class in geometry, but that which they're able to produce as complex structures is already built in. What point am I making here? If the creator of the universe has been so deliberate in how it is that he's created, seagulls and spiders and eagles, how much more do you think, as a divine human being, there's been intention in creating who it is that you are? It is a fundamental foundational philosophy of mine that every single human being, the 8 billion of us, each of us, have a unique gift or set of gifts which we need to serve to the world. Everything that you need to succeed and have a purpose-driven life as a student, you already have inside of you right now. It came in, built in, even before you went to school. Your responsibility now is how do you cultivate it and harness it? And the good news is that you're not building from scratch. There's nothing new that you need to try to hustle and get into grips with. It's already in you. You're not building from nothing. The question you may ask is, so how do I discover my gift? And I've got 3 questions or principles that you can consider. Number 1, your purpose and your destiny is linked to whatever makes you angry. What is it that when you observe it in society, you observe it in school, you observe it in a family, you observe it in the economy, for you, you just can't ignore it. It really gets your blood boiling. Other people see it, but for them, it's really not serious. They can walk away. But whenever you see this thing, there's always that thought that says somebody must do something about this. Surely there's a different way that we can do it. That is an indicator that you are that somebody that should be doing something about it. You are that somebody that can do something different. That's linked to your purpose and your destiny. What would you do for no pay? Okay. Your destiny is not a job, it's an assignment. So what would you do and enjoy doing even if you were not being paid for it? In an interview, the creator of Microsoft, Bill Gates, was asked, what is your key to success? And he said, I was able to find something that I enjoy doing more than I enjoy making money. I love to invent things, and my inventions solve problems. And the better I got at inventing and solving problems, the higher was my capacity to be able to earn. So what would you do, even if you were not being paid for it? Last principle is this. What are you passionate about? I know we come from an education system where, we're told, don't pursue your passion because, your passion will not be able to pay you. But unfortunately, that which we get discouraged from is the actual key that unlocks. Don't just pursue a career for a paycheck, but pursue a career for a problem that you love to solve, even if you're not getting paid for it. When you discover this, you'll be unstoppable because you're not dependent on any job. You're not dependent on any title. You can literally create your own path of your own success with things that have uniquely been built into you. And I won't pause here for reflection because I want us to have some time at the end, but I just want to put this visual for you to reflect on. And in the end, you'll give me some of your thoughts regarding what are your reflections within this picture. And it says here, regarding our education system, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And the point that I just want to make is this. The challenge with our education system, and please get me right, I am not discounting, I'm not belittling education, but I'm just providing some observations. That a challenge with our education system is that we don't prepare all people to be successful using their gifts and abilities. We often train individuals to be employable rather than making them realize that they can be employers, that they can be creators of opportunities. And the second observation that I need to provide for you is this. Don't let your qualification box or limit you, but rather use it as a platform upon which you can build your career and develop your gifts. That's the value of your education, all right? That's really the value that it provides. Don't say I studied accounting and if I don't have a job in accounting, then yeah, I'll be unemployed and I can't do anything. It's a platform. You've got something that enables a door to be open. Use it as a platform to build your career. Use it as a platform to develop your gifts. I studied economics. I've never used my degree. I've grown as a speaker. I've grown as a facilitator. In the work that I'm doing with you right now, here's the mind-blowing thing. If I was to get a job in corporate doing this work that I'm doing, maybe they might pay me like 50,000 Rand a month gross to do this job as a diversity and inclusion specialist as an employee. Running my own business doing this work, I can invoice more than 10 times that amount as a business owner, rather than as an employee. That's the amazing thing when you unlock your gift, because your gift can make room for you beyond being an employee. And let me provide, this is a 3-minute video before we open for the Q&A. It was a story that I found to be quite inspirational. A young South African took a very simple concept, but has been doing some amazing things with his life. So this is 3 minutes, and then we'll come back from some last Q&A. And I hope you were able to hear the music as well there in the background. I'm going to go past this because I want Lisa to come in and we can take any questions that we have. But the point that I just wanted to make with that video is that, oftentimes we think that our gift is something that needs to be amazing, earth-shattering. But this story for me shows a young person within an economy where most young people don't have access to job opportunities, took a simple concept, self-taught, using YouTube, started baking scones, able to open a bakery, and is now a trainer of other people that need to get the qualification. Here's the crazy part. This youngster is still not qualified. But through honoring his gift, right, he's now accredited as an organization in order to teach other people and to give them the certificate of qualification. That's the power of gifts. It enables you to transcend whatever the limitations are that the system puts on us. When you walk within your gifting, you will be amazed what it is that can open up and what it is that you can be able to achieve within your life. And there was I won't be able to get through this last segment. That's fine. Let me actually do it very quickly. In the United States in the early 1980s and early 90s, there was an experiment that was done called Biosphere 2. The idea behind it was, how can we build a closed system that can support life? being that if you can be successful in building a closed system that can support life, you can then be able to colonize other planets, because you can set up the system and you can be able to live in Mars, as an example. And the system will be able to support animal life, plant life, have its own oxygen, water, and by extension, support human life. Something interesting happened in the biosphere experiment. Trees would go to a particular height and then the trees would fall over. And they'd get to a particular height after a few years and they'd fall over. And the best minds in the world were confused regarding what is going on here. Anyway, they do a why analysis, and eventually they discover trees. All right. It is the wind that blows on trees that is to grow roots that can go deep and roots that can grow wide. In the absence of wind, in the perfect closed system that we built as human beings, trees don't have the type of root system that enable them to grow tall and to grow strong. And isn't this true of life? That often in life, when we face stressors, we think that these things are there in order to kill us, rather than recognizing that they're actually there to grow us and to grow our capacity. So whether you faced any losses, any financial stress, relationship problems, health issues, career challenges, be they unemployment, job loss, or career dissatisfaction, any addictions that one has and needs to overcome, rather than seeing these things as things that can take you out, how about we have the right perspective on it? That perhaps these are the winds that we need in order to grow our roots deep and to grow our roots wide, so that even though the winds may blow, and they will blow, that's just the nature of life. But when we've got deep roots, yes, we may bend, but we need not be broken. So just wanted to end, say your gift is a way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. When you honor the unique gifting that you've been given, you'll be amazed regarding where it is that you'll end up within your life. And with that, Madam Speaker, I yield the floor to you.
Thank you so much for that, Dominique. And I actually wanted to ask you to put your LinkedIn details as well as a little bit more information about you on the screen. And I see that you've actually done that. One very important point that I've learned from you is that the obstacles of your past can become the gateways that can lead to new beginnings. And with that said, Dominic, let us go to Lisa Daisel. That's one of the coordinators here today, or one of the organizers here today. And Lisa, for the Q&A, is there anything that stands out in the chat room? Can you please give us some insight into that?
Thank you, Program Director. I saw a hand coming up and going down again, but I do encourage you, if you want to ask Dominique a question live now, you're welcome to just click on the raise button and we will take your question. In the chat, there was just a question from Shante, or comment that you speak so well, Dominique. How can I equip myself to enhance my speaking skills? What tips do you have?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Be deliberate in studying it. You guys live in an amazing era where you can find anything on YouTube, whereas we needed to find like formal programs. The information that you need to develop in whichever field, you can literally find it on YouTube. If you need more formal support, there's an amazing organization called Toastmasters International. So Toastmasters will literally take you step by step from a person that's not, confident in speaking to eventually you being able to hold and own your own space. So Toastmasters International, look at YouTube, and you can be deliberate in developing yourself as an effective communicator.
Thank you so much, Dominique. There was just one question from Tubile. What career did you have in mind growing up?
I don't know, right? But the one thing that I knew as a kid is that I admired personalities like a Nelson Mandela. I admired personalities like a Martin Luther King Jr. I would observe the world and I'd see people like Michael Jackson and I'd be like, okay, that guy is famous and popular, but I don't want to be popular. I want to be of significance. And therefore, it was really seeing these leaders that I thought are leaders of significance, where I thought I'd like to model my life regarding that. I don't know where my life will go. I don't know what kind of impact and influence I'll have within our country or the global space. But if I live out my childhood dreams, I'd love to have that level of impact of the nature and stature of leaders like Nelson Mandela in the world.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Excuse me. I just want to come back to Diatili's question. I just want to also rephrase, because you did answer it in part in your presentation. The last part of your question was, where does one find the opportunity to grow and get into industry and tap into their potential? So for me, I'm hearing a question about, how do you create the most effective network for you to be able, to tap into those opportunities?
Yes. So my answer is going to be unconventional, but it's honest, right?
Okay.
I come from a background where I did not have much access to networks. Okay. I had access to teachers at school, potential in me, and then beyond seeing potential, they said there are organizations that have access to scholarships. We will reach out, apply so that you can apply for a scholarship. That was the mentorship, that was the help I received at school. When I left university and I applied at Unilever, my years at Unilever, I was quite deliberate in making friends. Okay, in not just having colleagues, but being deliberate in developing those relationships. And it's been amazing for me that those relationships that were formed in those formative years, I've been out of the formal corporate work for more than 10 years now. But the people that I started with as graduates, guess what? They are now directors, they are now vice presidents in different organizations across South Africa. Am I doing a lot of business with them? No. Because the one that has been the access to my network and the access to work has not actually been people. That has been through my faith. Right? That's where I've seen doors being able to open in order to ensure that my reliance is not on people, but my reliance is on the one that I know is my source and my sustainer. So I'm sharing this with you in order to encourage you in this way. Yes, there are people that may have, networks that enable them to grow and have phenomenal access. You don't have that network and that access does not mean that you are discounted. Align yourself with the one that has created you, and you might be amazed regarding which doors get opened. And people will be asking you, but how was that door opened for you? And even you yourself will be clueless. You're like, I don't know, but it was opened. And I just so happened to be the person that was qualified enough, that had the right set of skills, that had the right message in order to enter it.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Those are the only questions left on the chat. Back to you, Program Director.
Thank you so much for that, Lisa. And Dominic, from my side, I've got a very special person that is going to show some appreciation, or at least thank you for that. And she's one of those Cape Town girls. In Cape Town, we would call her a Bayeleka Macy, but she is our student counselor, and I know that you got that right. But I think never in her life, she's our career counselor that provides career support, and name is Chantal Adams. But I think never in her life did she ever thought of becoming the chairperson of a quality committee, running after me for my quality reports, nor did she anticipate that she's going to be my friend one day. So with further ado, Dominic, let me hand over to Chantal Adams just to show some appreciation to you. Chantal, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jacques. Oh, you had me in stitches. And then I see also then my background has also disappeared. I think as I sat here listening to Dominique, I thought, what am I really hearing today? And it became very difficult for me to put all the pieces together, because you speak a lot and you're such a good public speaker, but what you are is actually an amazing storyteller. And I think this is what the entire group is appreciating, and why they're asking, where can I learn how to speak like this? Because it's not just public speaking. One has to become very skillful in narrating one's life story. And a job, a career, a job title is just one part of one's life. And I think that's what you displayed today, is the importance of being connected, interconnected, because you were speaking about how do I strive to order and prioritize my life. One is faith, one is marriage. It's my son, it's my work, it's my extended family. And all these things shows the interconnectedness of values that you're also trying to develop and aspire to. Things like leadership, being a provider and what that means, and how do I mentor, how do I show my son and be a role model for my son, but also not only my son, for others as well. So I think what you were able to, I think what I appreciate is your ability to show us your interconnectedness with not just a job or a role, but life and everything that we experience as we move through life. You spoke about bent, not broken. You know, you can bend but don't break. How deep are your roots? And that is very important when you're moving through life, because you can lose a job and you can lose a house, or you could lose a marriage, you could lose a child, you can lose, things can come and things can go, and it's all about how we reframe and think about shifting our perspectives on what is happening, what are we seeing, what are we encountering. One student was asking about, you studied one subject field, you entered in a different subject field. How do you even navigate that? And I think what you were speaking about is not only being strategic in people you connect with, the books you read, the YouTube videos you're watching, and things that you want to train yourself on. So being very strategic, but also keeping your eye out for opportunities is very important, that you not limit yourself and tell yourself, okay, I only have a BCom in economics, I can only study economics. And you're watching opportunities pass you by because you're not opening yourself up to thinking differently about opportunities. So I just want to show appreciation, not only from myself, but I think all the organizing committee here today. Thank you for taking the time to connect with our students. I think a very important message. One is also connecting with mentors, and one was asking, how do you connect with mentors and connect with the right ones that's going to give you what you want and what you need in order to progress and grow. So I think there were a lot of important mini messages in this huge message that you conveyed to us today. So I just want to thank you for your time and your energy to engage and support our students, most importantly today. Thank you so much, Dominique.
Thank you.
Dominique, you continue to inspire a lot of Unisans here today, as well as a lot of South Africans. And I'm so proud to have actually met you today, and I will start following you on LinkedIn. But there's also a saying, die Kaap is breed en die Kaap is wyd. And Cape Town consists of, it's whole of England. So 45 minutes away from the Cape Town CBD is a place called Malmesbury, and this is where our next speaker reside, Miss Lindy Marie, and she's a student mentor for students in the Western Cape that study through open distance learning. So with that, she is going to give us some words of inspiration. And Lindy Marie, I'm going to open to you. Lindy, if you can just open your camera as well as your mic.
Good day. Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon, fellow students and presenter. Walt Disney once said, if you can dream it, you can do it. So let me begin by congratulating each of you for being here today, because showing up is the first step towards turning your dreams into reality. Nelson Mandela reminded us that it always seems impossible until it's done. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, remember you're already on the path and progress is happening, even if it's not visible. Robert Frost said, the best way out is always through. Challenges will come, but don't let them stop you. Keep pushing forward. Your breakthrough is on the other side of persistence. And Winston Churchill wisely noted, success is not final, failure is not fatal, and courage, it is the courage to continue that counts. So whether you're celebrating a win or recovering from a setback, know that your journey is far from over and your courage is your greatest asset. Thank you, Program Director. Handing back to you.
Thank you so much for that, Lindy. It's always good hearing your voice. I know that there's a hand up for this segment. I would love us to make use of the question and answer, the chat pane for that. Right, so we've got some very, very interesting speakers lined up. And our first speaker is going to be, she's a business manager rather, from Petro SA. So can we get our speaker to introduce her? I know that some speakers were identified, so Saya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. DeToya, our fantastic program director. My name is Saya Pierce-Jones. I am one of the Unisa student mentors. I just want to double check that everyone can see me. Quick hands up, thumbs up. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to introduce you to Miss Trudy Lee Hansen, a distinguished professional whose career exemplifies dedication, leadership, and impact. Ms. Hansen is a seasoned business manager with over 25 years of dedicated service at Petro SA, where she has been entrusted with spearheading the development and implementation of strategic communication initiatives. In her current capacity as acting communications manager, she plays a pivotal role in ensuring that employees remain informed, engaged, and aligned with the company's vision and strategic objectives. Now, her professional portfolio encompasses the management of organizational communications channels and the promotion of employee engagement and the cultivation of a positive workplace culture. Now, beyond her corporate leadership, she is also a registered and accredited auditor with the South African Bureau of Standards, SABS, bringing rigor and expertise and governance and compliance. Ms. Hansen is also an accomplished author, having published books and contributed insightful articles to various magazines. She holds a bachelor's degree in counselling and an A+ diploma in administration from the University of South Africa. A devoted mother of a son and an avid gardener, Ms. Hansen balances her professional excellence with personal passions that reflect the values of growth and nurturing. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ms. Trudy Lee Hansen to the virtual podium with a warm round of applause. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you so much. Ms. Trudy Lee Hansen, you can start your presentation.
Thank you. Just confirm if you can see my screen.
We can indeed.
Good morning, or I would say good afternoon, everyone, Unisa students, colleagues. I'm sitting here in one of our boardrooms in Petro SHTL Refinery in Mossel Bay. Allow me to share with you a short message of hope and motivation. Who is Trudy? Trudy is a communications manager, business manager, a motivator, a single mom, an author, auditor, friend, colleague, counselor, and community worker. My studies with Unisa, it shaped me how it shaped my career path. As an A candidate, I had a huge impact on my personal life and my professional career in the following areas. Time management, well-being, of course, that is very, very important. Strong administrative skills, which it stuck in my head forever. To be able to write my own books, certified registered auditor, counselor, and as a successful businesswoman. With excellent communication skills, thanks to my executive manager, Ms. Mashika Tennyson. Thank you, Unisa. The challenges I've overcome through a long sick bed while studying and preparing for exams. I believe a lot of the students can relate to me. The pressure and emotional challenge of going through a divorce and represent my company in an external audit. Just a moment. External audit to maintain our certificate of compliance, understand, apply, negotiate our audit terms and reference. And believe me, that's not easy. Stereotype. Yes, the pressure of being labeled as a woman in a male-dominated environment. You know that song, "It's a Man's World," in the oil and industry. So yes, and to apply my studies into the work environment of being a single mother during my studies. Very, very, very hard. Second one, can you see my screen? The lessons learned. I believed in myself. I'm content in myself. I trust my instinct. And then I embrace my uniqueness. I remove myself from negativity and peer pressure. I stop blaming the past and the present. And to be able to identify my potential within myself and the skills transformation. Practical advice I can give to students to enter the world of work. Conduct a SWOT analysis on yourself on a monthly basis and measure your growth. In order for you to get inspired, please contact me on the following websites, social media, and students, the change, it starts with you and only you. And then I'll give you a quote from my book, one of my books. It says there, "My soul is my intellectual and my inner self, my emotions, my energy, my character, my heartstrings, a feeling deeply from my gut, my endurance and my resilience." Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was quite inspirational. Thank you so much, Trudy Lee Hansen, for that. And we are going to do a panel, Q&A in between. But to welcome our next speaker, we've got a group of student mentors, each identified to give credence to our speakers here today. So may the student mentor who's going to introduce Ms. Basani Muhai, please present us with her profile.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director. I will be introducing, firstly, ladies and gentlemen, before I can introduce our next two speakers, I just want to make this point, and I will close my camera for now, that the two following speakers, ladies and gentlemen, are just a unique a type of our grads. Let me just say our alumni, because they have since graduated, that they decided working for the military, or rather for the Air Force, that they were going to study. And they already had their qualifications within their field of work. But they decided that they are going to study and start studying with Unisa. And they decided that they were going to study for the same qualifications, and they will support each other to the end. And this is what they did with success, regardless of the fact that they were already qualified in their specific field. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to make this point, that these two alumni professionals, they are also high-ranking in their work that they are doing. So without any further ado, Mr. Program Director, I would like to first introduce Lieutenant Colonel Molebogeng, who holds a BCom Transport Economics from Unisa, and then thereafter introduce Captain Masego Ngema. Mr. Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, I'm privileged to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Pascaline Molebogeng, a distinguished South African officer and accomplished geospatial intelligence specialist in the South African National Defence Force. Born in Marapiane, in Mpumalanga on the 4th of July 1982. She has built a career defined by service, discipline, and leadership. Her academic journey reflects both determination and resilience. She completed a BCom in Transport Economics at the University of South Africa and a BCom honors in the same discipline. She successfully balanced her rigorous military duties with academic achievement. She has expanded she has expanded her expertise through a diploma in aviation safety with the International Air Transport Association, a diploma in geoinformation and technology with ESRI Southern Africa, and certificates in project management and advanced geospatial information systems from the University of Pretoria. Most recently, she earned a master's degree of science in defense and international politics from the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, and she aspires to pursue a PhD in political studies at the University of South Africa. Lieutenant Ku, ladies and gentlemen, military career spans more than 2 decades. She began in the South African Air Force as an air traffic assistant, later transitioning to Air Command post officer, where she was entrusted with the critical responsibility of coordinating the air transport of high-ranking officials, ladies and gentlemen, including the President and the Chief of the South African National Defence Force. Since 2010, she has served in the Directorate of Geospatial Intelligence, where she currently leads as a senior staff officer for GIS and mapping. In this capacity, she has played a pivotal role in strengthening national security by designing and implementing geospatial solutions that enhance situational awareness, interagency collaboration, and operational readiness. A proud South African and lifelong learner, Lieutenant Colonel Nku embodies the values of a dedicated professional excellence and service to the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure to join me in welcoming Lieutenant Colonel Pascaline Mlebogang Nku to the podium, and I will hand over to the program director, and later we will we'll introduce Captain Masego Ngema. Over to you, Mr. Program Director.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Makanya. I just need to correct myself there. I thought whenever we hear the concept or the title of Lieutenant Colonel, we would always assume that it's the South African Police Service. However, I must admit, the first time that I hear about a geospatial intelligence specialist in the South African Defence Force. So it's really, really exciting to hear a little bit more about this. But I must also indicate that it comes from a pioneer in geospatial intelligence, but also of breaking the barriers as well as beating the professional odds. So over to you, Lieutenant Colonel. We're excited to hear from you.
Thank you, Program Director. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I will humbly, before I begin, request to switch off the camera due to security reasons. I'm currently in someone's office due to the electricity problems that we experienced this morning. I couldn't miss this opportunity. However, may I please kindly switch off the camera to continue?
You may do so, Lieutenant Colonel.
It is truly an honor for me today to share my journey with the fellow students, fellow alumni, and Unisa Young Professional Seminar. I will start first quoting our former president, Thabo Mbeki, who once said in his famous "I am an African" speech, open quote, "Whatever the setback of the moment, nothing can stop us now. Whatever the difficulties, Africa shall be at peace," close quote. This words reminds us that no matter the challenges we face, determination, dedication, discipline, and resilience will carry us forward. As I have already been introduced by Ms. Makanya, I would like to further add that I'm not only a soldier and an academic, but also a wife, a mother, and a career woman in the military. And balancing all this role has been one of my greatest challenges and one of my proudest achievements, and that is the story I'm here to share with you today. I would like also to disclaim, unfortunately, due to military security classification, some of the things I won't be able to share with you today because I didn't get permission to share into details. However, I will just touch down of what I basically do on my day-to-day business. And this brings to my aim, which is to share my career journey with the fellow student. I don't know, because I requested that they share my presentation on screen. I don't know if they received it because I can't share it here. Program Director? Hello?
Lisa?
Ms. Daisel? Ms. Daisel?
Do you have my, okay.
Apologies for that. Let me just share it quickly.
Okay, please, ma'am. Which brings to my aim, which is to share my career journey as an Unisa alumni. I'll be covering the following scope points: my professional career path, my education and academic journey, why I chose to study at Unisa. I will also share my journey, how did I make it, and advice to the young professional, and I will conclude. Okay, I started my military, under my professional path. I started serving in the military, as it was said previously, 2 decades ago when I was 20 years old. Actually, I was 19, turning 20 the same year. When I was doing basic, I was 19. I finished basic training while I was 19 because I was born in July. So I started there in 2002 from Marapian, from the villages, from the very disadvantaged family. I started as an air traffic service assistant for 5 years, which I hope most of you understand what is an air traffic control, where you sit at the tower, you control the movements of the aircraft, flying or also on the ground. So that was one of my responsibilities as an air traffic service assistant, was to guide aircraft before they depart, give them the clearance of how they're gonna fly, and then also when they land, you give them direction where they must park. And then I was there for 5 years. After that, you know, you outgrow what you are doing. You go to the next post that is available. That's when I went to Air Command Post Officer. And that's where I started becoming interested in studying, furthering my studies, because when I joined the military, I was directly from matric, and then I got this opportunity. I trained. I didn't have any formal education that I received post-matric. So I started working as an Air Command Post Officer. As Ms. Makanya indicated, I was responsible to plan the movements of the aircraft, ferrying the president to different meetings, as we always see when our aircraft flies from Air Force Base Waterkloof. That was one of my responsibilities, to make sure that the aircraft is ready for the president. We've got the pilots, it's serviceable, all this, etc. That was one of my responsibilities there. Then while I was there, I asked myself, how can I empower myself related to what I'm doing currently, and also to learn more about aviation. Therefore, I went to Unisa. I remember I started first checking. I was interested in diploma safety management because it was an in thing then, 2006, 2007. Most of the people or most of my friends were doing diploma in safety management. Okay, back then Unisa, you'll do, while it was there up there, not at Sunnyside, you'll do walk-in, do whatever, choose whatever subject that you want to do, qualification you want to do. After that, you register, you pay, you get your books. Okay, I did that, I registered. But after that, I thought, no. Let me take something that I'm doing, transport management or transport economics. So I checked, I asked which transport qualification can I do here? They told me, no, there's transport economics. And then I checked the curriculum. I saw there's air transportation management. And that's when I said, this is where I'm going to start. Okay. Then I worked there for almost 5 years as well, there at Air Command Post Officer, doing my part-time studies. And then in 2010, 2011, I joined Directorate Geospatial Intelligence, which I'm still presently working here. I started as a GIS operator, which we are responsible to even do cartography, maps, creating a map from scratch according to the requirements from our clients, which is our military personnel from different directorate or from army or from medical or from Navy. It depends. They just come and then we create a map according to their specifications. Then I've been here for almost 12 to 13 years, and currently I am a GIS and mapping manager. Then I will go to my next scope point, which is my education and academic journey. As it was said, started at 2007 with my degree, finished 2015, which took so long. And then I took a pause for a year or two because I was pregnant with my third child by then. Then I started my 2017, after I gave birth to my daughter, I started my honors in transport economics, completed in 2019. However, in between, I will just juggle because I like studying. They will always say, my husband will always even joke about it. Are you studying to get an obituary to say you studied in all these fields? But I always check, is it related to what I'm doing? Then I did aviation safety management. I did diploma in geoinformation and technology because this is what I'm doing currently from 2018 to 2020 at Esri. It's in Midrand. It's an American institution. Then I did the certificate in project management. Hence, I'm saying if I'm not studying, I don't feel good about myself. I always encourage, no matter what, I balance life. I make sure that I empower myself with education. And that earned me a master's in defense and international politics, where I was selected to go and study in Ghana for a year. I went last year, I think it was even on Friday last year, on this day, I was flying out to Ghana, didn't know anyone in Ghana. I've never been there. I didn't even know. I know in the map it's somewhere in the west, but I didn't know how is it going to be. But because of the background that I've got from Unisa, the hard working that I've done by studying at Unisa and having my honors, it was easy for them to accept me to study at their institution. My next scope points, why did I choose Unisa? I chose Unisa because of the flexibility for working professionals like me. Like I said, I came here in the Defense Force with a matric, and then compared to the normal traditional full-time study, it was not going to be possible to leave and say, I'm going to school full-time. So Unisa gave me that distance learning model and allowed me to balance my military career, my family life, and even studies were so easy not easy, but it was doable. And then it's so accessible and inclusive. Anywhere you can just submit your assignment. That's what I liked about Unisa. Sometimes, yes, it's hectic at work, but I will be able to just get that moment and push and make sure that I submit my assignment. I remember even in 2008, I was deployed in DRC. I think it was for 4 months. And then within that period, I was able to submit my assignments while I was still there in DRC. And also the credibility and repetition. Unisa is one of the most respected institutions, especially in Africa. It is known for producing graduates who excel in diverse fields. And as I said, I'm one of them. I'm an example. I've been, my qualifications were recognized, and I was allowed to pursue my Masters of Science in Defense and International Politics. And also personal growth. It gave me, though I'm from the I'm from the institution where discipline is the core. However, studying at Unisa has taught me resilience, independence, and time management. I'll be able to juggle around work, being a mother, having 3 kids, and also being able to submit or to even complete my my degree. And then I will now share my journey. How did I make it? As I said, I started in 2007 at Unisa as I did the walk-in. It was even the second semester, as we know, the second semester is very short. And I said, no, I won't take 2 modules because I got the advice, take 2 modules because you don't know how is it. I said, no, I'll go for 4 modules and then I will test myself. If I can make it, then I know that yes, I'm ready to study, because I've never had, like I said, never had a formal. I only had the military courses crafted according to military, but I've never been a post-matric, be exposed to a university or a college. Therefore, I went, I registered 4 modules. I remember it was July, then I wrote the exams in October, November, or I submitted the assignment. To my surprise, I got 2 distinctions, and guess what? That's what took me to say, you can do it, Lebo, you can push, it's possible. You had 4 modules, it was your first encounter, and you did well. Though I faced challenges because of the being a mother, as I said, and being here at work, and as a young officer, you're expected to even be more active than any other, because you must prove that you one day, when they say you are a lieutenant colonel, it's because you worked your way up. And then I got the external support, where we will go to Saturday. They used to be Saturday, I don't know now. There used to be Saturday classes at Sunnyside campus. I will just wake up Saturday morning, go attend those classes, try to come back and push the assignments. And also there was evening classes. I think Masio will say more about them, because she's the one who will come and say, my friend, there's this other college or this other guy who's presenting financial maths or who's presenting accounting, let's attend. The classes will be in the evening, sometimes starting from 7 p.m. You must be there. You come from work, you get home at around 4:30. You must now cook for the kids and the husband. Then after you drive to the class, you come back at 9. You must prepare for the next day. So it's doable. That's what I want to say, that irrespective of what, it's doable. And then the guidance from lecturers, our mentors. Like I always say, Masio is my mentor. Masio, when we met in 2007, I think. Yes, 2006, 2000, I think 2007. And then we just became friends. We just liked each other. We're in the military, and she's my junior, but I just liked her. Then I told her, you know, my friend, I want to start studying. That was 2007. I think around April, May, but I'm not sure what to study. Then immediately when I registered my BCom, I told her I got something that I think you will like it as well. Then I told her, let's browse for curriculum. Then she became interested. I think she registered in 2008. And she found me there, and she was the one who's encouraging me. And when I wanted to give up, she was just saying, Lebo, we can do it. And of course, she even graduated before me, though I started before her. She even went through honors. After she completed her degree, she told me, let's do honors. I told her, no, let me take a pause. She went there. She told me, it's doable, my friend. If I can finish the first year, I know you can do it. Then that's how our relationship and our friendship continued. Even today, even last week when she was telling me about this, that we will be presenting, I told her, no man, let's do masters, or let me do PhD. It's either I'm going to do PhD in social politics, or we will do masters in transport economics. But that's how we encourage each other. We always talk about education. Nothing much, nothing. Yes, it will be family, but most of the time we're talking about Unisa, where we come from, where we started, and what's the next. Like I am saying, perseverance, resilience, and family support and friends carried me through all these challenges. And then the advice that I can give to our fellow young professionals, I would say balance is possible with commitment. Irrespective of what I said, there's so many things that I was going through. Some of the things I won't even mention, but because I wanted what I want. I set the clear goals, the priorities. I won't like and say, no, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and then I'm a soldier, then that's it. I still even go out. I still have a braai at home and drink whatever that I want to drink, but I always remind myself there's books. I remember even now when I was now in Ghana, when I received my results, I was shocked as well. Hello? Hello? Okay, when I was in Ghana, I sent my director here in where I'm working, Jew Special. I sent him my results. He was shocked that, Lebo, how do you get A's and B's? How did you balance your social life? Because they know I'm a socialite. But there's time for socializing, there's time for books, there's time for family, there's time for work. So balance and know what you want. Anything is possible. And then use your challenges as motivation. Hence, I'm saying every obstacle you face is a stepping stone. Use it to build resilience and strength. I know at some point I will have money, because when I started studying, I was paying for myself. And I said I was a junior officer, not earning that much. The first year I paid for myself. I will even not have money for books. I will just go there at the gate at Sunnyside, check where can I buy a book. Sometimes you even make friendship online, and then you can say, please borrow me your textbook, I'll borrow you this one. So there will be a way to overcome those challenges. Let there be motivation to say, because I borrowed this book, I will make sure that this weekend I finish at least 3 chapters before I take it back to the owner. Or this coming week, let me push and complete my assignment. Yes, I will also sometimes submit assignment 5 minutes to 12, making sure that it's in. But hence I'm saying, as long as those challenges, you take them as motivation. The third one, I will say, never stop learning. Unisa shaped up my journey, gave me a courage, and I will say through formal studies like Unisa or self-development, always invest in growth. Hence, I just mentioned other institutions that I went to study at. Let's try as youngsters, and I always say, as young as you are, if you are young, as old as you are my age, education never get old, and we learn every day. Today, I listened to the speakers that spoke before me. I was motivated by them as well. I was saying, wow, even if next time I'm not going to be presenting, I'll wish to sit and listen to other people's stories, because that's how we learn. And resilience, the fourth one, I will say, resilience builds character. There will be moments when the workload feels overwhelming. You must push through. And resilience defines your leadership journey. And there were nights I will return from work, tired, as I said, then I will push and say, because I said I can do this, and of course I must finish it. And I did that. And like I said, in my introduction, I said I was working in the VIP squadron. VIP squadron was very demanding. And as we know, military, you don't have life. You don't own your life. At any time they call you, you must deploy. You must come and the president wants to go wherever. You cannot say I'm not available. By then you are in the middle of a class or you are in the middle of a assignment, but I pushed through. Hence I'm saying, if you are a working student, it's still possible. If you are a full-time student, it's a bonus for you. You can do so much. I always said, Unisa, the way I found it, that if I was a full-time student, I would have done better than what I did as a mother and as a full-time worker. Therefore, I would like to close with the last one, which is your education and personal growth are the best investment that you will ever make. They open doors and prepare you for greater responsibilities. First, education is every qualification I achieved at Unisa, it became a stepping stone. I would say from my degree to the honors and to get an opportunity doing masters was Unisa's foundation. It opened my career as well. When I was introduced, they said I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ngu. And with the course that I went now, it gives me the next level, which will be a colonel. Maybe next time when I present, I'll be saying I'm Brigadier General Ngu, because of the education that I took from Unisa and taking it with open arms and always wanting to learn more. They recognize it also in my institution, in my department, that there's a hardworking officer, and then you get opportunities to say, okay, who can we send to Ghana? When they check the profile, oh, this one has metric, because us in military, they just introducing it, but most of the time we come in with metric. But when you come with a qualification, which I even got it when I got in the organization, it boost my CV. It says, okay, she studied this and that and that. Then that is the story of me. And then in conclusion, I would like to say I'm profound to serve as a soldier, academic leader, and Unisa alumni. I chose Unisa because it gave me the flexibility to pursue my dreams without posing my career or family responsibilities. It was not easy, but it taught me resilience, self-discipline, and the importance of lifelong learning. Do not wait for the perfect time. Create your balance, embrace the challenge, and grow stronger through it. I would like to close with a quote from the late former President Nelson Mandela. Open quote, education is the most important, powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. I close quote. Thank you, Program Director. That's the story of me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Lieutenant Colonel, or should I say future Brigadier? Yes, one important lesson that I've learned about that is that balance is possible with commitment. Usually when masters and doctoral students come to visit our campus, I say further degrees are not for those that just want it, but for those that want it most. What I learned from your presentation is that you started taking action as a teenager, even at the tender age of 18, 19. And I think it's all about taking the leap when you start to dream big. And it's important to take risk and action, overcoming those risks and those obstacles and those doubts and those fears that's always linked to what is going to happen next. But it's all a culmination of consistent effort, and it's not just magic. It seems that lifelong learning is part of your DNA, Lieutenant Colonel, and we at Unisa are very proud of you. And it just shows that the distance between your dreams and reality is always called action. So with action, we're going to future Brigadier. We're going to give over to one of our colleagues in Pretoria, Ms. Makanya, to present our next speaker to us. Over to you, Ms. Makanya.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you a trailblazer professional whose career reflects both passion and excellence in the field of aviation. She is an enthusiastic aviator with extensive expertise in civil aviation, particularly in aviation management and operations, including aviation safety management systems, with a distinguished military aviation background in airspace management and air traffic control. She embodies both discipline and precision. Beyond her technical expertise, she is a leader and mentor to the youth, committed to raising aviation awareness in our communities and aspiring the next generation to soar higher. As a disciplined aviation safety ambassador, she continually champions air safety and environmental responsibility within the industry. Her academic credentials include a double BCom degree and honors degree in transport economics, underscoring her ability to adapt, plan, and excel in fast-paced and demanding environments. She is also a licensed pilot with the South African Civil Aviation Authority, a testament to her dedication and skill. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Captain Masego Ngema, who is the study buddy, or rather was a study buddy to Lieutenant Colonel Ku. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce to you Captain Masego Ngema. Over to you, Mr. Program Director, sir.
Thank you, Program Director. A very good day to you all the students, colleagues, and friends within academic environment. I'm going to switch off my video as well because I'm in the car and I need to use my phone for my slides as well. So please pardon Colonel Lebo and I, we're hiding our faces. And I'd like to apologize as well. We're not wearing uniform today. I'm not flying today, and she's also doing her casual work today. So next time we do presentations, we'll be in our full uniform.
It's totally perfect. You may continue, Captain.
Thank you. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? So as the speaker has introduced me, my name is Masego Ngema, but affectionately known as Captain Masi. I treasure this name because this is the name I adopted when I think I was 6, 7, 8 years old, because it's at that point that I knew that I wanted to become a pilot. So being a pilot has always been a childhood dream for me. I like what Linda mentioned about, is it Disney? I think it's a Disney quote where he says, if you dream it, you can be it. This is what I've lived to do. I've always seen myself, envisioned myself as nothing else but a pilot. I dreamt it and I became it. And I've also been involved from a very young age in other aviation development programs, be it aviation camps, be it, you know, sharing your knowledge or visiting schools and telling people about aviation, which I still do to this day. Mrs. Makanya will attest, because when they do some of their career drives, I still get involved and help out visiting schools and sharing our knowledge and experience, telling people about aviation as part of giving back to the communities. So yeah, my aviation knowledge has always been there. I've always been exposed. And sure enough, today I like it because information is really at the tips of their fingers. They can just Google anything and information is there for them. Next slide, please. So Colonel Lebo and I, we have a lot of similarities, and I think it's God that has put us together. Or because, like she said, she was my senior. I joined the military in 2006. We met in 2007, and we loved each other. I don't know why, but I think it's God that has put us together. 20 odd years later, we are still friends. We're still studying together. We're still pursuing things together. And yeah, I think it was just meant to be. So you'll see on my CV, most of the things that she has, I also have, because that's how we've always done things. We decide this is what's going to study, and we do it together. So she also has aviation management systems programs that she spoke about. I also have them, and many other things in the aviation industry. So those are some of the qualifications that I possess, and including the aviation business consultancy, which is what I'm currently doing as well, in addition to my flying. Next slide. Yeah, it's repeating itself. Those are the qualifications we have. And the nice thing about our career is that you can always try something else. Like she tried the GIS. I went into doing something else. Currently also looking into agriculture, because aviation, you can match it with anything. I mean, I look at now how agriculture, the use of technical devices like your drones, which is also aviation related. There are aircrafts that are involved in agriculture, like the aircrafts that if we have like mountain fire, what do you call this? Fire outage. When there's fires in the field, you require aircrafts and helicopters that can go in and help with removing the fires for safety. So you can match aviation really with anything, whether it's in the mining industry, whether it's in agriculture. It really gives you, I don't know how to put it, but you can diversify, if that's the right word to use. So yes, those are some of the qualifications that we both possess in both aviation and in the transport economics. Next slide. So I always like to challenge myself. I've always been a person that likes to do things that are usually not done by people. If people are going west, I want to go east. Like I want to see what's on the other side. Why is everybody going that way? I want to try this way. So apart from, I've just told you now, I'm getting into agriculture and trying to merge my technical expertise into agriculture. What I'm currently also busy with now is in the area of apiary. Apiary has to do with like bees and honey production and all of that. And my reason for moving towards that direction is because how amazing it is that apiary and aviation works similarly. Like everything, I'll tell you, a bee functions as an aircraft. The principles of flight, it's also within apiary. So I just like to research more, and when I find something interesting, I tried out. So I did beekeeping courses and advanced beekeeping courses, and I'm a registered beekeeper also with the Department of Agriculture. But you'll see later where is it that I'm gonna merge my aviation background with agriculture. They do marry one another. So challenge yourself to do other things out of your comfort zone. You can see a picture there. There's Angelina Jolie. She's an actress, but she's also a pilot and a beekeeper, just for interest's sake. Next slide. So when we speak about aviation, it's just basically, it entails flying and all its related activities operationally. That's what aviation is all about. Next slide. But then when you mention the name aviation, what really comes to one's mind is the profession of being a pilot, a flight attendant, an air traffic controller. Colonel Lebo spoke about it, and an aircraft engineer. But that's not really the case. Next slide. Which is what, when I do these career drives, I always encourage other students. It doesn't mean if you are in aviation, you have to be a pilot. You have to be an ATC. There are other things you can go study for in your private universities like Unisa, like VETS, acquire that qualification and come and utilize it in the corporate to assist in the industry. So some of your qualifications that you might be doing now, you may be in marketing, you may be doing finance, project management, asset management. That's where you can utilize your formal qualification in the aviation industry. So it's not only about pilots and ATCs or flight attendants. There's more into the industry. Next slide. So on becoming a Unisa student, like my colleague and friend and sister mentioned that she went in first, obviously. And then I also was hungry to study something because I like to challenge my mind. I don't like leaving my mind idle. Even just now in June, I took a short course just to keep my mind busy with Unisa, but it was in agriculture, your intro to finance in farming management, just to challenge myself and to keep my mind going. Because if I don't study anything, I become crazy. Colonel Level will attest to this. We always need something to do. So on becoming a Unisa student, I did enroll in 2008, but because I was already out of the military and I was working for ATNS, I was also trying to test the waters. So I can say officially, I started officially in 2010. That's when I took it seriously, but I did register in 2008 or 2009. Reason for this was to further my studies and really for personal and professional development. And like she also mentioned, I needed something that was related to what I was doing at the moment, which is air transportation. So she advised me, we look into those modules, and yeah, perfect fit. They married one another. We chose BCom in transport economics, of which I've when I graduated in 2014 or 15? Yeah, in 2014, I immediately went to apply for my honors because I didn't want to stop. I became even more hungry for knowledge and education. Next slide. So that's Kenalebo and I love this picture so much. This is when she completed and we were attending her graduation party. Yeah, so some of the challenges really that I faced, it wasn't really much, but then just to, the thing of finding a balance between your career, your studies, your family. Like she said, it's doable. It's really doable. You just have to find a method that works for you. It will all be different for all of us, but find a method that works for you. So it was exciting for me in the first year and taking this academic journey. But there was a feeling of, being unsure if you manage it. Like she said, people will advise you take one module, take two modules and test the waters. I started with 4, I think, as well. So yeah, I did manage to find a balance between work, friends, studies, and family. The only thing that gave me challenge was accounting subjects, because I never really did accounting in high school. So I was more of you did your science, your maths, your geography, because you knew after school, I want to become a pilot, and these are the requirements. To become a pilot, you need scientific modules. So yeah, management accounting also gave me a challenge, but our solution was to find those, they were private classes, not part of Unisa. We will attend discussion classes, tutorial classes, but we went even further to find private tutors from other universities. I think that professor was from Tugs. Every Saturday, sometime during the week in the evenings, we attend those classes, and it made sense. It gave us light, and it really helped because we managed to pass some accounting. And the other challenge that I had, I think it was in my final year, where I lost my mother, who was a constant support, because also I had kids at that time. So weekends she will come and babysit when we went for those classes. I had that family support, especially from her. So when I lost her, I came to a crossroad where I said, do I pause? Do I mourn? Do I grieve? But deep down in my heart, I wanted to complete, just to make her proud, because I know that's what she would have wanted me to do, and make her proud. Unfortunately, she wasn't there on my graduation, but when I walked on that stage, like I said a lot of prayer, and I say thank you, Bam, for pushing me. Next slide. So some of the values that my colleague spoke about that I learned from Unisa, I will match them with the attributes that you require to become a pilot. Somebody spoke about time management. To become a pilot, you also need to know how to manage your time. You speak of things like self-discipline. Colonel Lebo spoke about how she's a socialite, but she's also balancing it. She knows when it's time to study. So you need to have self-discipline. You need to stay focused and committed to your studies, and the ability to work under pressure. Sometimes you find that, you started your assignments late and you've got like 3 days to submit. Your work is too much. You've got reports to do at work. How do you manage pressure? And how do you function under pressure? As well as teamwork. You need those study buddies. Work with people you don't know. Some you just do emails, Teams, WhatsApp calls. You need to know how to work with other people, and communication and listening skills. It's what I got out of this experience, and also your leadership skills. Next slide. So in my final words, this is what I like to use, that, you've started this journey and you've come this far. Some of you are on your final year. It is your responsibility to cross the finish line. Tell yourself, no matter what, you will complete, and you will complete well. So I will encourage you to never, ever, ever give up on your dreams. And in closing, I'll also quote one of my favorite leaders, Dr. Miles Monroe, where he says, and I open quote, Believe in the dreams that God has put in your heart. For you were created to stand out and not to blend in. So all those dreams, you know your dreams in your heart. Believe in them, and then you become whatever it is that you're dreaming of becoming. So thank you so much for your time. I don't know if there's time for the video clip at the end of the slides explaining everything about aviation career, but if there's no time, it's a 1.5 minute video. If we don't have time, you don't have to play it. But that's how I needed to end about my aviation and academic journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Captain Marcy, if I may call you that, of course. I think what we can do is to just make the clip available for all the participants. And then I'd also like to thank you for your encouragement. It just shows that dreams do come true. And even if we, I think if we lived in the 80s, aviation would not have been possible for most of us. But I would also like to thank one particular person, and that is Mrs. Makania, because Mrs. Makania, because of you, I've got two new friends, and that is Lieutenant Colonel Lebo and Captain Marcy. So I can tick the boxes for, the catalytic niche area 2 aviation and aeronautical studies, and then catalytic niche area 5 space studies in square kilometer array. So I will just do that. Thank you so much for that presentation. And to give credence again to our next speaker, I would like to bring Nosipo again to the fore, just to present our, she has joined us, Mrs. Mohai has joined us, and for Nosipo just to introduce our final speaker to us for today. Nosipo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Program Director. It is an honor to introduce Basani Muhai, a dynamic automation analyst, youth ambassador, and advocate for technology-driven solutions, who is dedicated to empowering others through innovation and mentorship. A proud child of God from Mamelodi, Basani completed a matric in 2008 and began her academic journey at the University of South Africa in 2012. She went on to earn a Bachelor of Science degree in 2018, overcoming challenges with determination and resilience. Her career began in process automation, and today she serves as an automation analyst and subject matter expert at Standard Bank, leveraging the Microsoft Power Platform to design impactful, data-driven solutions that enhance efficiency and support informed decision-making. Basani is a YES Top 35 Under 35 ambassador, working with youth employment services to guide and inspire graduates. At Standard Bank, she hosts technology masterclasses that equip colleagues with practical skills and foster personal growth. Passionate about knowledge sharing and youth empowerment, she continues to inspire young people to explore careers in technology and data, proving that determination, faith, and service to others can open doors to extraordinary possibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Basani Mowahi to the podium. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Program Director.
Nosipo, over to you, Mrs. Basani Mohai.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. There's been so many changes from the time that introduction was written down, but I'll take you through the changes as we go. So as mentioned, my name is Basani Mowahi. I'm originally from Mamelodi, and what I do, or what I used to do, is process automation. But before I get into that, I'll just give you a short background about myself. I completed my matric in 2008. It didn't go so well, even though I did pass. My maths results were poor for me to get into university. So then what I did was, just a second, can you guys still hear me? think we just had a power outage.
We can. We
Okay,
can.
all right, great. Okay. Yeah, so when I completed my matric, I had issues with some of my matric results. So what I did is I decided to go back to school and just to clean them up, because I always sort of believed that, you know, I want to take a career path in the science field. And obviously, you know that you need mathematics to do that. So I went back and I tried, and it didn't really work out until I think it was in 2011 when I was introduced to a foundation course in Unisa, which was called Access to Mathematics back then. I'm not sure if it's still there or if the name has changed. And through this course, you do a 1-year course, and if you do well in it, then it gives you access, you know, to a bachelor's degree. So I undertook that course. And through it, I met, you know, other fellow students. I was actually told that you could go to the registration in Sunnyside and just request for details of students who are actually doing the same course as you. And then I was able to reach out to a couple of students. Some responded, some didn't. But with those who did, we actually then started creating sort of a group where we were a group of students doing this course. Throughout the year, you know, we would just meet up at Sunnyside, you know, encourage one another, help one another where we were struggling. And at the end of the year, we were all then in a place where we had passed and we could now start our degrees. So in 2013, that's when I then registered for a BSc in chemistry and physics. So yeah, the first semester physics was very tough for me. I realized that, you know, I had already struggled to get into university. I didn't want to struggle any further. So the first semester, when I realized that it was a bit of a challenge, I dropped physics. And then I decided, you know what, I had so much fun, you know, with mathematics the year before. And I started loving maths. So I decided, let me actually do, instead of physics, let me then take up maths. So I dropped physics, and then my BSc then turned into chemistry and mathematics. In this journey, honestly, it had challenges, obviously, but it also had a lot of support through, even though we are long distance learning students. You'll be surprised how many of us would wake up every single morning and go to campus just to study. Through those study groups, we would just meet up and study. Because, you know, my major was chemistry, there would be times during the year that we would go to Florida campus and do some practical. So this was me on my very first year in a chemistry lab. You know, it was just an exciting time. I also tried to participate in some of the activities that would be happening on campus. I think this was it had something to do with a youth forum, or yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, you know, we got blazers and, you know, just a couple of things. So I tried my best to always be active and not feel like I'm a long distance learner. And that's I think that was one of the things that kept me inspired and kept me to push, because I was constantly in campus meeting with other fellow students. We would constantly inspire one another. I had a strong passion for chemistry throughout my years of studying, that eventually, I think it was in 2016, that I decided to actually go and volunteer at a pharmaceutical company in Pretoria. I think it was called Sanofi back then, and they specialized in manufacturing TB medicine. So this was me in 2016 as a volunteer at this pharmaceutical company. And I did this because I just thought, you know, in order for me, because now we are long distance, I'm learning, it would be an opportunity for me to get experience while I'm learning, so that by the time I'm done with my qualification, you know, I'll be work ready. So I did this for 9 months. I volunteered for 9 months, which was also honestly a great experience for me, because it gave me first-hand experience to what I was studying towards. It was a big advantage for me. In same year, then I decided to because now I was closer to finishing my qualification, I decided to drop the volunteering after 9 months so that I can really focus on my studies. In 2018, I finally graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry and Mathematics, which is truly, even today, the biggest highlight of my life, because studying with Unisa was not easy. You know, there were times when you would register 5 modules and sometimes you only pass 2. You know, that can be very discouraging. And obviously it means more years, it adds more years to your qualification. But thank God to, the community that we had already created in campus. We would always support each other, encourage one another, so that, you don't drop off. There have been many times when I wanted to drop off, not just even because of academics, but also because of finances, when times were tough and, you could not pay your fees. But we would always find ways, to pull each other. And that is the importance of having a community, even though you're a long distance learner. Find a community and find your people. Those are the people who are going to keep you grounded. It is not easy to study with Unisa, especially as a youth. So make sure that you meet people and you just constantly encourage one another. I do not support studying from home unless I don't know. I did not have the discipline, to study from home. So that's why I would wake up every single day. It was almost like, I'm a traditional university student. Every single morning, wake up, take the train, and go to campus. Around 4, you knock off, you go back home, just like a normal student. And that was the one thing I believe made it possible for me to actually complete my qualification. It was because of that discipline that I pushed myself to ensure that I get this qualification. And eventually I did. I was also, besides the volunteering work, I also did some some promotional work for Vodacom. I worked for a company called TCC, which allowed us to do some promotional work in stores and so forth. So it allowed me to get some, money on the side studying. And yeah, that was my journey through Unisa until I graduated. Post-graduation, I honestly believed that, maths was just a subject that I took because I just thought it was a nice subject. I enjoyed doing maths. But at my core, I really believed, I was gonna end up as a scientist in a lab. And so post my qualification, I could not get employment. I couldn't even get an internship, even with the volunteering work that I had done. I had tried everything, but there was just no opportunities. And one day I was like, you know what, let me just, start, instead of pushing the chemistry side of things on my CV, let me push maths and see what happens. And honestly, with just one application, I got an internship in data science, which was also in Standard Bank. Actually, at first, it was an internship in design thinking. I missed the data science opening. So I got it. I got the opportunity. I went to the interview, and they liked me. Then I got the letter to join the bank as a design thinking student. But I think it was a week later they gave me a call and said, we see you have maths. Would you like to do data science instead? I was happy to do it because also it was almost double the pay. It meant more money for me. So I was really happy because this is actually the one that I had wanted, but I had missed the application date. So while I was in my data science internship, I was also placed in a team where they do process automation, right? So I was sort of like, in between data science or automation. And then what I did is while I was doing data science, on YouTube, I would then start learning process automation. And then luckily for me, I had a manager, who was very open to people learning new things. So he would give me the platform to implement whatever I was learning on YouTube. And I actually fell in love with process automation to a point that 2 years later in our internship was actually extended because of COVID. When COVID hit, the bank felt that we would struggle to get employment during that time, so they extended our internship. So I stayed in the bank longer, and then that meant that I could continue, implementing whatever I was learning on process automation. While I was doing all those learning, a post came out. It was an automation analyst post, which I applied and I actually got the job. It was in Standard Bank, but on the insurance side of things. When I got to insurance, to be honest with you, it changed my way of thinking. A lot of things were very new in insurance in terms of technology, and with the experience that I had already acquired through YouTube and the learnings that I was doing on my own personal space, I actually embarked on a journey where I started training people within the bank how to do process automation through my learnings on YouTube. And I did automation for 4 years, since 2021 until recently, where, in my journey of automation, I started this thing of training people on the Power Platform, which is the process automation. And, this actually earned me in 2023, a Mark of Excellence. A Mark of Excellence is it's an award that the bank gives for the top 10 employees for that year. And for that year, because of the work that I was doing, trying to empower people and upskill people, I was awarded this Mark of Excellence award, which also came with an overseas trip. I had never been to overseas before in my life. It was an all expenses trip, which was really beautiful. It was one of my biggest achievements, I would say, because it speaks to how I then helped other people, to also recognize, the power that is within them. And people from these trainings that I was giving, people also started doing what I was doing when I was an intern, implementing from the learnings that they had gotten and bringing in business value, to the company. So in that whole period, in my whole 4 years as a process automation analyst, I really tried my best to empower people. And I also work with an organization called the Youth Employment Services. And through that, I also try my best to continue empowering the youth. So my relationship with YES is that in 2024, what YES did is, YES is an organization that puts in graduates, that pushes graduates into the corporate environment. And what they did is they went back, because I got into Standard Bank through YES. 5 years later, they went back to check on the people that they had pushed into the corporate environment. And at that point, we were about 3,500 youth alumni that came through YES. And out of that 3,500, I was nominated and selected as the top 35, doing well in business. And they created a post about the top 35 in the Daily Maverick newspaper, which came out last year. And this year again, in August for Women's Month, I was put on a billboard in Stanton as one of their top alumni who's solving problems in business. So this also speaks to the work that I had been doing in Standard Bank throughout the years. I believe that I'm a problem solver. I'm a problem solver, but I'm also an uplifter. I work very well with people. I'm always constantly trying to help people to recognize their potential and just bring out the potential in people. So this billboard really for me was so big, because now for me to be put up on a billboard in Sandton as a face of a woman who's constantly driving change and driving, girl power and all of that, it meant a lot to me, and it even meant a lot to the company that I work for. But I was also at a place where, I'd been doing process automation, I would say, for 6 years, because the first 3 years I was an intern and then 6 years as a permanent staff. I just started feeling like I need to expand myself in terms of how in terms of, if you work for a good company, you can have these conversations to say, I really want to expand and grow. So I started speaking to a couple of leaders in business, and eventually one of the leaders that I had spoken to, she's a leader in data engineering. We sat down and we had a talk, and after the talk, she was like, you know what, I have a role, in engineering, since you want to come into the data space, and I think that you should apply. I've seen what you do, and I've heard about the works that you do. So I really want to have you on board in my team. So at that point, then I was given a promotion into the data engineering space as a data engineering manager. So that's where I am right now as of September 2025. And yeah, it's a new journey for me. I'm constantly looking to learn, I'm constantly looking to grow. And I believe that, this is just the beginning of something bigger, where if I me going into the data space means that when I give back to the youth or whoever I'll be working with, empowering, then it means I have more to share. Besides just doing automation, I can now speak into data. So yeah, that is my journey. It hasn't been an easy one, but it's really a journey about resilience, self-discipline, showing up for yourself, but mostly also doing things for others. I think it's very important that we talk about how growing in your career is not so much about what you do for yourself. You also grow by doing things for other people. I work with Yes for Youth. We try our best to get as many as possible graduates to be upskilled, so that they're in a better place, to get positions in the corporate space. So I'm constantly looking for opportunities where I can continue working with the youth, and so forth. And I'm also the other thing I think that I can encourage the youth in this session today, expand yourself. Always look for opportunities where it gives you an opportunity to expand and grow. Recently I applied for the insurance apprenticeship, which is currently airing on SABC 3. If you look at when it starts, there's a clip where there's just a group of people on a long queue and they're just waving. My face is also there. I was looking forward to going to that, but I think the one thing that I asked to back out because I was not aware that it was going to air on TV. I'm not yet in a space where I felt I was comfortable to be on a national screen. So I pulled out of that, but it because that was last year and it's airing this year. But I think now I'm more prepared. So I applied again. I am going through some interviews to get into it, and hopefully I do get in, and hopefully I get into the insurance apprentice. And yeah, probably you'll see me on TV next year. Hopefully everything goes well, because there were issues about why I pulled out last year, but it was just a matter of readiness. I was not prepared to be on television, and that was the only reason. But hopefully things work out for me for next year. So to encourage the youth today is, never give up. My story is honestly about a girl who just wanted better out of life, and regardless of the circumstances and challenges that I faced, I pushed through. And I think that we all have it in ourselves to push through and just become a girl on a billboard, or become a girl who's published on a newspaper, where they tell a story about your life, and hopefully that story encourages someone, to also push through. And yeah, I think that's it from me today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Program. Yes.
Thank you so much for that inspirational. Some people call it, that girls are made of magic, but I always think that from unemployment to billboards, that a good art always beat the odds.
Yeah.
So just know, Basani, that you have resilience in your DNA, whether you want it or not. Lisa, I noticed that you've got a lot of links placed in it. We are going to respond to all of the question and answers within the chat. But Lisa, if you can just tell them where they can get, before we get to the closing, where they can get all the the links, the recordings, and what you've placed in the chat regarding the YES programs, as well as any type of support that they can get. at Unisa, from Unisa, by Unisa, and from the counselors. If you can just give us an overview, and then we can close the session by the word of thanks. So over to you, Lisa Daisel.
Thank you so much, Program Director. So I am still going to post a couple of resources in the chat, but I also just wanted to emphasize our contact details. So if you need to have conversations about your career, your academic as well as your personal development, please feel free to reach out to us. I also just want to appreciate a comment from Tobele. I think it really epitomizes, our intention for today. They said that this is definitely my day. I've always battled to incorporate my aviation dream with what I'm currently studying. The sky is the limit indeed. So thank you very much for that comment, Tobele. I think it is really inspirational. So what I'm going to share with you in the chat, just as a quick overview, are our contact details to get in touch with us. I will also be posting links to 2 publications that are free of charge. You can download them. The first is called the Grad Next book, and the second one is called the PNet Grad Pack. And both of these publications contain a lot of information to help you prepare for future opportunities, aspects such as CV writing, interview skills, preparing for even entrepreneurial activities. Then I'm also just going to post a link to our feedback form in the chat. If you could just take a moment to complete this for us, it will take you about 2 to 3 minutes, but it will really help us to make adjustments to our future events so that we can make sure that we meet your needs. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Lisa Daisel. The importance of this event lies in the feedback. I really want you to please complete the feedback form that will be posted soon in the chat room. But without much ado, let us cross over to the Unisa Western Cape, the head facilitation of learning. Not head facilitation of learning. I'm so into the head of facilitation of learning. To the head of counselling, counselling and career development, and that is Dr. Kanile, and she's going to have the concluding remarks as well as giving us a little bit of motivation and encouragement on how to take on the rest of this year. So over to you, Dr. Zama Kanile.
Thank you, Program Director. I'm just going to show my face for a second. I think you've all seen me and get to my presentation, not the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude today's Western Cape Young Professional Seminar, it is my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks on behalf of the Western Cape region, Counselling and Career Development. This gathering is particularly meaningful because it brings together 2 pillars of our institution: our students who navigate the challenges of distance learning with determination and resilience, and our alumni who have gone on to make a remarkable impact in diverse fields. At Unisa, our students understand what it means to balance study with work, family, and personal commitments. They know what it means to work independently, persevere without the structure of daily lectures, and take full responsibility for their own learning. Today, our alumni speakers reminded us that this very discipline and spirit of perseverance form the foundation of extraordinary careers and lives of impact. Mr. Dominic Gaupepe encouraged us to embrace integrity and inclusion, showing that courage and ethical action matter in every field. Ms. Trudy Hansen highlighted the importance of connection, communication, and resilience, qualities that help students navigate challenges and build meaningful relationships. Ms. Moahi inspired us with her determination in technology, proving that setbacks can become stepping stones when met with persistence and faith. Lieutenant Colonel Nku demonstrated the power of discipline and lifelong learning, showing how education equips us to serve society with excellence. Captain Maseko Ngema reminded us to dream bigger and aim higher, illustrating that with passion and courage, even the skies are not the limit. To all our alumni speakers, thank you for returning to share your experiences and insights. You have shown our students that distance learning is not a limitation. It is preparation for life itself. To our program director, Mr. Dutoy, thank you for guiding us smoothly through today's program with professionalism and warmth. To our regional director, Mr. Nkwang, thank you for your leadership and for supporting initiatives that bring our students together in meaningful ways. To Dr. Mashia Pata, the Director of Counseling and Career Development, thank you for your vision and support, which makes gatherings like today possible. To our witnessed that the Unisa journey is challenging, yet transformative. The discipline, resilience, and determination you develop today will open doors to opportunity, innovation, and meaningful impact tomorrow. On behalf of the Western Cape region, CCD, I would like to express sincere gratitude to our organizing team, particularly Ms. Makanya and Ms. Lisa Dazel, as well as everyone who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this seminar a success. Let me leave you with the words of Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. To our alumni, thank you for using your education to inspire and uplift. To our students, the baton is now yours. May you carry the lessons of today with confidence, and may your own stories of perseverance and success light the way for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Kanile. On behalf of the Unisa Western Cape region, Unisa Pretoria, I would like to thank, our executive management. I would like to thank our regional student representative council for attending, the organizing committee, Ms. Lisa Daisel, Ms. Makanyas, the student mentors, the presenters, the students, all stakeholders involved, as well as the alumni. Thank you so much for attending. You can just drop what you've learned in our chat pane. Just write what you've learned and what inspired you, as well as what motivated you in this presentation today. But on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for attending, and goodbye.